In manufacturing, there's this story you hear on pretty much every factory floor. When something goes wrong, it's always production's fault. But what if that's not the real story? Today, we're going to explore how production data can actually become a powerful mirror, one that reflects the performance of the entire company, not just the assembly line.
Sound familiar? Of course it does. A delivery's late, there's a product defect, a planning mistake, and the finger almost always points in one direction. It's a super frustrating reality for production teams who, let's be honest, often get blamed for issues that started long before a single part ever reached their hands.
And that's the absolute heart of the issue, isn't it? This whole blame game, it's fueled by assumptions, by emotion, by what I think happened. But the real story, the one that actually helps you improve, is hidden in the data. So what if we could replace pointing fingers with pointing at the facts?
To do that, we first have to completely rethink what we even mean by a defect. Because really, it's not just about a faulty product coming off the line. It's so much bigger than that.
The source for this explainer shares this fantastic story. Just imagine a production team sitting down for a quality management training. They're probably bracing for the usual lecture on output and errors, right? But the speaker totally flips the script. They don't talk about the factory floor at all. Instead, they start focusing on the quality of work coming from logistics, maintenance, planning, and even engineering. For that team, you can just imagine, it was a complete mindset shift, a real light bulb moment. And this leads us to a really fundamental question. If a defect isn't just a bad part, well, what else could it be? The answer, it changes everything. This just blows the definition wide open. A defect is also when engineering delivers technical drawings late. That's a defect. It's a defect when the maintenance team misses a scheduled checkup. And it is absolutely a defect when the warehouse has the wrong stock count. All of these are failures in the process that create this ripple effect downstream and just slam into production, even if they have nothing to do with production's actual work. Okay, so if we know the problems often start way outside the factory floor, how do we prove it? Well, you move away from opinions and you start leaning into the cold, hard data. And this is exactly where a monitoring system like Lean2S comes into play. Its purpose isn't to micromanage the production team, it's to provide an objective lens, using data to show exactly how the actions, or, the inactions of every single department are affecting the final output. And how it works is, honestly, beautifully simple. First, the system logs any downtime the very second it happens. Then, and this is key, the operator identifies the exact reason for that stop. Not a guess, the real reason. And finally, all this information becomes a concrete, factual record ready for analysis, so you can find the true source of any problem. Once you start tracking the reasons for downtime, the patterns become undeniable. They just jump right out at you. All of a sudden, you see that a huge chunk of lost time isn't due to operator error at all. Nope. It's because of things like waiting on raw materials or waiting for the correct documentation from planning. The data finally starts telling the real story. But here's where it gets even more powerful. This approach starts to uncover problems that were, before, completely invisible. Think about it. Your production teams are incredible problem solvers. When the documentation is wrong, they use their experience to fill in the gaps. When the right material isn't there, they figure out a workaround. They are constantly preventing disasters from happening. But here's the paradox. Their success actually hides the original failure. These near misses, they're never recorded, so the root cause is never addressed. And guess what? The problem is guaranteed to happen again. Right? So without a system, a near miss is just a story told over coffee, and the false conclusion is that, hey, the process must be working just fine. But with a system, that near miss becomes a data point. Look, one data point might be a fluke, but 10 near misses a week caused by the exact same issue? That's not an anecdote anymore. That's a clear, measurable signal that a process is broken and it needs to be fixed. And when you start doing this consistently, day in and day out, the system transforms from just a simple tool into something much more profound. It really does become a mirror. It stops being about just one department and starts reflecting the quality and efficiency of the entire company. Every single part of the value chain can now see its own reflection in the production numbers. And when you have that kind of data, there's nowhere to hide. And the impact of this shift in culture? It's huge. It completely dismantles the culture of blame and forces teams to focus on the facts. It actually fuels collaboration because the supply chain team can finally see the direct cost of their delays. It reveals the true weak points in the entire system, and it empowers leaders to make decisions based on reality, not just gut feelings. You know, at the end of the day, this isn't some brand new radical idea. It's the very heart of well-established philosophies like Lean and the theory of constraints. It's all about using data to find and eliminate whatever is holding your system back so you can get that continuous, meaningful improvement.
So let's just leave you with this thought. If your company is still stuck in that same old loop of it's always production's fault, maybe the problem isn't your production team. Maybe the real problem is what you can't see. Perhaps it's finally time to stop blaming and start measuring. Because when you finally have the data, you can stop trying to fix the blame and actually start fixing the business.